Alright everyone, this is Anon. None of this is financial advice, this is for entertainment purposes only. It's been a while since I have been able to stream. We've been sick, my whole family again, because the kids bring home plague every single time. You know, the plague every single time, it seems like. What's up, Jerry? What's up, John? How are you guys? Can you guys hear me okay? The microphone's okay? You're sick. I'm always sick. You're a sicko. I like that. How's everyone doing? Loud and clear. Good stuff. Alright. Yeah, it's been a while, so let's kind of get caught back up and see what's going on. See if we can make sense of anything. I've been basically putting some good time with hanging out with the wife, and I think she appreciates that. So, GTII. Alright. You want to take a look at that ticker? Sure. Why not? GTII. I saw that one mentioned on Short Squeeze, right? Excuse my cough. Alright. That's an interesting little formation there. It looked like had gotten some good down pressure and then had a pretty solid day there, pretty decent volume. Alright. Hanging with the wife. Shame. Yeah, I've been hanging out with the wife. She had pointed out that I need to make more time to spend with, her. Most of the time, we would put the kids to bed, and she would go ahead and, what's up, Hustle? How are you, bud? She would watch TV, and then I'd be down here streaming, and she was like, it'd be nice for you to spend a little bit of time with me, so I think that's what we'll do going forward is I'll put in like an hour with her, then come down here and try to start it at 10:30 or maybe 10, we'll see. But it just all depends what time we can get the kids to bed. But yeah, we'll do that. All good, busy week. Yeah. This entire market's been weird. But let's dive into this one because I haven't taken a look at this ticker. So excuse me. So let's first pull up and just see if there's any immediate red flags. Okay, so dilution tracker has not indexed this ticker yet. So GTII. Yeah, so they don't even have it listed yet. Container stuck off the port of Savannah. Supply chain issues all around. All right, let's see what we can find on these guys. GTII. Oh, interesting. So it's an OTC stock. It's over the counter. So is this a penny stock that actually made it up and is now, I mean, that's a pretty significant run they've had. Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading through the headlines. Once again, you can't trade off the headlines. Most of the time, they're telling you whatever they want you to hear. Like, Seeking Alpha says GTII is overvalued based on, and that's probably true, but at the same time, it's like an opinion piece. What's going on underneath is what the question is. What's up, Andrew? How are you, bud? Yeah, 2 cents and... So this is what you would call a meteoric rise, right? So the stock at one point was trading, you said at 2 cents. Yeah, look at this thing. So, what happened here? Right? So you see they were down here at a penny. And then it looks like maybe someone's... Let's see how many shares outstanding they have. 0.2 of a cent. Oh, 0.002. Okay, so it's like 0.2 of a cent. That's... Wow. Okay, so these guys probably... they probably got squeezed. Somebody noticed they had like a low float maybe, and then they just... Let's take a look. Okay, they announced that the management, after further market study and the input from its legal team, has decided it's in the best interest of the shareholders to keep the original exercise prices of the warrant it distributed last year. Here, I'll bring this over so you guys can read it. So they're going to keep the original warrant prices. So we need to find out what the warrant prices are. Maybe they'll tell us here. Looks like $2.75. So the warrant prices are, let's map it out. Oops. Let's do price $2.75. Come on, just go just one more. That's fine. It's close enough. So that's where the warrants are. We'll make a little, make it a little fatter so we can see it. We'll put it in, I don't know, let's put it in purple so it stands out. Okay. So this is where the warrants are. Yeah, $2.75. So here's the only issue, right? So anywhere above this line, they are able to issue out those warrants, right? That's what we're reading. Excuse me. So let's read further. So they were declared effective on August last year, and a change to the exercise price would require an amendment to the S1. Therefore, shareholders are eligible to exercise their warrants at the exercise price and receive common shares registered for the resale. Okay. Now, my question is, what was the catalyst, right? So they were basically in the process of being absolutely hammered down to the ground. What was the catalyst that basically set this whole thing off? That's the question. Because this isn't normal. You don't normally have a stock that's basically going out of business or like going to get delisted that's getting, absolutely just trounced into the ground. And then all of a sudden it just recovers and goes up to previous warrant levels. Did they actually have a good earnings? Like, that's what we need to find out. What's up, awesomeness? How are you, bud? All right, so GTII, and we need to know shares outstanding first off. I need to know what size the float is. I mean, this is literally a two-person operation. They didn't report any revenue, and their net income was down. Huh. NFTs and gold, no products. Kathy Griffin is present. Sound familiar? Yeah. Warrants available. What size is the shares outstanding, though? That's a good question, right? Because that would be a very, very interesting thing to see. look at that website. It's like a SPAC. And let me look at the. So it started out. Yeah, that'd be nice, right? Ethereum will make a run at some point, so we'll cover that at some point tonight. I just wanted to take a look at this and see if I can find out. Oh my goodness, look at this. Okay, so it's got a huge float. They actually have a $1.13 billion market cap. What? This is insane. Like, is this naked shorting that just basically got out of control and then they got squeezed? Like, sector oil extraction. Companies on the energy services. Hustle, I thought you said it was that was NFTs. Intellectual properties and proprietary systems, trade secrets in the bio, green tech, and global health technologies, and other emerging businesses. The company was founded in 1980 and is headquartered in New York. What is going on with this thing? They like strike oil after not being like able to do that for years. Kathy Griffin. Any relation to Ken Griffin? It's a money laundering scheme. And I mean, kind of looks like it, right? That's just super, super, super. Like, what is going on with this? 2 employees? So they don't even have a website that's working? Or at least not off Bloomberg? This is weird. No, this is their... No, this can't be it. That's the... some countries... stock... I mean, that could have been their website for all the... Was it Global Tech Industries Group? Here we go. Warrants available to shareholders. Click here. So warrants are set to expire. If you want to exercise your warrant, please complete the warrant exercise form below. So they're basically raising cash. Right? All right, let me look at their 10Q because something's weird here. What are they doing? This is such a weird stock. This doesn't look right at all. mean, their assets have grown according to them. Fine art? What's this license? So all their money came from this license here for this other asset. I don't know what this license is, but apparently they think it's worth almost $13 million, which means that if you look at their balance sheet prior, like everything was goodwill up until basically this license came in, and now they all of a sudden have a more balanced, right? Because total liabilities, total equity, where's their total liabilities are $8 million. So technically they are actually a positive shareholder equity. Yeah, this is a strange, like what is this license? Let's see if we can find any information. This is strange. Right? So we need to find out. So they paid cash for some sort of license that all of a sudden now is stock release from escrow for license acquisition. Licenses. Gold Transaction Network license. I'm going to zoom in. On February 28th, 2021, pursuant to a stock purchase agreement between the company and the Gold Transactions, so Gold Transactions International, who are GTII, they assumed a license agreement held by GTII. The company has not accounted for the acquisition of the license due to a performance obligation that has not been yet met, but is disclosing the terms of the license due to the legal acquisition of the license. The license provides access to a joint venture company, the network, that buys from artisanal miners internationally and provides transportation. Was it Assayan? I don't know what that is. Refining and storage facilities in the DMCC1 free trade zone and commodities in Dubai. This sounds like money laundering. And then sells the refined gold to its customers. What is this company? This is a weird, shady looking company. And if you're a lawyer from this company, this is just my personal opinion. This just looks like a weird balance sheet and weird filing. So sorry if I don't know. I've never seen a stock go from basically less than a penny to basically over. I mean, that's an insane run. Look at this. Like, so either this stock was highly illegally naked shorted, or basically something weird's happening here. I don't know what this is. No, I don't think this is what ATER purchased. This made me cough really bad. This looks shady. I mean, to me, they can already dilute. As long as the share price is above this, they can dilute. We're going to get them to issue an on NFT billions. Pretty sure most people will pay you not to have that. Determining a chemical composition to determine if it's gold. Okay, thank you, Arthium. Appreciate you. Can we go for PCG? Sure. PCG. Okay. This is Procter & Gamble, or is this some sort of other spin-off? Let's see. PCG. Procter & Gamble. Well, random. That's because I can't read. Told you guys I eat crayons. All right. Let's see. Wait, Pacific Gas and Electric. Okay, so it's not PG and E. Okay, so PC. Sorry, PCG. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, these were the guys that burned down like California, right? Yeah, these were the guys that burned down California. So let's take a look at them. So at their peak, I think they were at. Let's go back even further. Yeah, this was like a $70 stock that basically at one point hit all the way down to like $4 a share. And it's been basically chilling in this like range. There was a huge amount of selling though here, which is interesting. Or at least the volume picked up a lot. But you're saying it could have been and on When We Get Rich, that was supposed to be overnight riches. It's been 6 months. Hey, I was gonna say, I'm with you. I am actually a lot less rich than I was before. That's a good amount of volume on this weird day. What was it for? Like, okay, you said that they sold puts, which is bullish. I don't have an option scanner, but 50K puts sold at 7. I mean, that's basically just saying that if it's pushing up. What date did that happen on? Do you know? If it was on this day, that would explain it. Or even anywhere down here. So when you sell a put, you're basically committing to buying the stock at a certain share price, right? So you're saying that if it drops below this, I'm willing to take on that risk of this stock. And so you get it for what you actually, So say, for example, the stock falls to 680, right? And then it pivots and then goes back up, right? You wrote you sold the put, which means that you agreed to buy it at $7. So, in some cases, in that case, you would lose a little bit, but you also would have gained the premium, so it probably would have offset. So that's like the ideal situation is basically you get issued those shares and then the stock heads up from there. So you got paid the premium plus then you get the shares and you But a lot of times it's when you want to go long on something. So if somebody bought 50K worth of that stock, that means they're basically committing that, hey, listen, I'm willing to pay $7 a share for this stock. If not, then he'll keep the premium. And if it drops below that, that's a price that he's willing to All right, you're gonna DM me the. Okay. Okay. So this is where they sold those puts. But this is for the 14th, right? Oh, that's the gamma? Okay. All right, I'll pull up the options chain. Yeah, I mean, they're probably oversold now, or they were back when they were for like $5 a share. At this point, I think they're probably pretty accurately priced. I mean, the short interest is gone now. Institutions do hold a good amount, but, a lot of people are saying it's overweight. Some people think it's an outperform. Who's got it? Wells Fargo has it overweight. And RBC Capital has them at outperform. So there's mixed stuff. Outperform is Credit Suisse. We don't trust anything Credit Suisse says. All right. Let's take a look at the options chains real quick. And there's definitely people that are getting bullish on it. Not like full on bull, but like pretty bullish for December. December, for whatever reason, has a ton of action on. Yeah, this stock can move. Yeah, so this is actually super interesting. Let me pull up the options chains and let's see what it looks like as a whole. All right, so this is what caught my eye on this one, right? I'll pull it up in a second so you can see. All right. Yes, you're right, Dirty. You're right. This is weird, and there's a good amount of open interest for December. You did say January, and there's a good amount in January, but the December one's way more. All right, so just to share with everyone. So these were the guys that got in trouble because they apparently started the forest fires that burned down like half of California or something like that, right? So the stock's been basically pushed down. But what catches my eye is this right here, which is there is a good amount of open interest here at the $10 and the $11 and especially the $13, right? Even up to 16. So there is a lot of action going on here for some reason. Dirty, do you work for PCG? No, I wish. Is what Dirty said. Yeah, so this is a good amount of open interest. Now, people selling covered calls, we don't know, but I mean, it looks like there's a good amount of people being bullish on this long term. Is there some sort of significance to December or like November for PCG? Is there like news coming down? Do they have earnings? I'm just trying to figure out why there's so much open interest on this. Especially on that date. So if there was like something going on in like October, November, that would make sense why there would be a ton of open interest in December. So do they have some sort of catalyst coming up? Because that's something to take a look at now. Like, this is just at a like glance, but let's take a look. Is there any like, see if we can find any sort of huge amount of news. Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing anything. I sent you a short story in regards to the short interest. All right, so PCG's short percentage of float has risen 13.13% since the last report. I don't know when this was written. You didn't send me the date this was written, but the company's recently reported that 82.7 million shares short, which is 3.36% of the regular shares that are available for trading. Based off that trading volume, it would take 3.5 days to cover the short position. So you would have a little run, like probably a 3-day run. The short interest is the number of that the shares have been short. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got it down at 4.8 for the short interest, but like the stock has a lot, right, of shares outstanding. Want to buy some ATER? I probably will be buying if it dips any lower. I've been kind of eyeing like 97 cents. We'll see if we get that again. I'm trying to get my average down, so I'm trying to be patient. Yeah, I mean, like, you can tell on this stock. Like, if you just glance here, like, these companies, 194 million shares, 190 million shares, Vanguard, 186 million. That's a lot of shares. They employ 2,300 employees. Yeah, they're a huge company. Market cap of 34.9 billion. Institutions own about 46%, is what I'm seeing. We can pull up Vortex if we need to. You and DZ, 97 cents. I didn't catch up. Did DZ say something about 97 cents? They do have preferred stock as well. Sorry, I'm just reading through. I'm just curious. If we type in... I mean, there is a good amount of open interest there, Hustle, but I don't disagree that they probably... that fire cost them a lot of money. And there's a reason why they got shorted down so much. Because... just reading through. I mean, we can take a look at Morningstar as well. I do have... Let's take a look at Morningstar. See what their analysts think. Paxton, what's up, man? Anna, do you see midterms as a catalyst? I think the market's doing some weird things, and it's not like unusual. Basically, the market's at this inflection point where it's got to figure out where, and I think it's resting on the 200 right now, if I remember correctly. But it's at this weird spot where basically it's either going to bounce hard and we'll hit probably 400 again, or it's going to break down and probably test the like 320s. I don't know which one it's going to be. To me, it's more likely that there's, bearish things coming because of, here's the reason why inflation is so important and how it affects the dollar, and why the dollar is really what drives a lot of things in the market that people don't realize. So if anyone knows like the difference between like, all right, so if you look up DXY, do you guys know what that is? This one we can track on here. No. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. DXY, dollar, and SPY. Yep. So DXY is the dollar index for SPY. Let's see if there's any images of it. But typically they run opposite of each other. So if the dollar is strengthening, the SPY is going down, and if the SPY is going, if the dollar is going down, the SPY is going up. So like you can see right here, basically, when here's the SPY, as the dollar is weakening, right, the SPY was going up, and whenever you see basically the opposite happen, which is when the dollar started going up, it basically sent the SPY down. And the reason why that is because all revenue is, or all earnings are calculated in dollars, right? There's a video on the dollar milkshake theory. I'm not familiar with that one, Andrew. You'll have to send me a link. All right, but basically, just simple thing. Just you guys just remember this. So when you have a strong dollar, right? What ends up happening is, because most of the like largest companies are doing global stuff now, whenever you have a weaker like rest of the world, right? So when the dollar is strong, the rest of the world typically is the opposite. So like when you have like the yen and the, like the peso and all these other like currencies that people do business in, everything's reported in dollars, right? When you report earnings, they're reported in dollars. But when the dollar is strong and the rest of the things, are like weaker, all the other currencies, you report less, actual revenue. So like, if you think about that, that means the earnings are going to be weaker because the dollar doesn't go, or sorry, the rest of the currencies don't go as far. So yeah, Peruvian bull. Okay. I'll take a look at it. Just send me a link so I don't forget. But that's what happens, right? So when you have a strong dollar, typically the SPY is dropping because the largest companies all report in dollars. And when the rest of the world's dollars, their currencies are not worth as much, their earnings goes down. So like it's like this normal thing. Peruvian Bull's DD is playing out. This is his milkshake thing. Bull DD. Milkshake. Reddit user Peruvian Bull. Hyperinflation is coming. The dollar endgame. Just reading through. Well, we should have listened to those red-eye bots. All right. Can't change anything now, but who knew that they were actually warning us because they were the ones pushing up the stock price and manipulating the market. I haven't seen anything with a milkshake. Oh, here we go. The dollar milkshake. So this is his thing. Stranger Things Volume 2. Triffin's Dilemma and the Dollar Milkshake. The Dollar Milkshake has begun. This is going to be a longer read, so I'm not going to be able to analyze this now. But someone in the Discord says that Yaniv has connections to hedge funds or his building locations history. They're all in New York. Like, apparently, Armistice Capital is a couple blocks away from Ethereum's capital. Or not capital, but offices. So, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I'm sure they probably know each other. But, like, that whole area is full of, like, hedge funds, smart money, and regular businesses. Like, that's not that uncommon. So there's a financial sector in New York that they're probably in. So, I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. Apparently, I also work for the hedge funds. That's what I've heard, been accused of multiple times. I do not. But, people like blaming something on whatever they can. Financial bro, capital of the world. Yeah, I mean, that's what New York is. When you go on Wall Street in that financial district, they're all around there. So, yeah, I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt. So here's like the honest truth. Like, we're oversold. This entire stretch has been oversold, right? We finally came up here, and we actually found out why this day happened, right? So the day it went up like 8% right here, this was when Asher apparently, the former like chairperson and then now just large shareholder, he apparently, I guess, tweeted that he bought some shares. So we saw that there was a gap at 109, and it gapped up and it went all the way up to 125, and then basically today's just been pushed down, right? Yeah, so I haven't read it yet, but I can tell you right now it's like a couple part, right? So like the reason why they need to curb inflation is because obviously it's running rampant across the world, but especially in the United States. When they do this, the dollar strengthens. When the dollar strengthens, the biggest companies, like the ones that are most global, their earnings will be worse because everything's affected. So there's this constant yeah. Correct, and there's a tipping point where foreign supply chains collapse, and then it can cause a huge problem. That sounds pretty actual. Like that sounds pretty reasonable. It's not that far fetched, so we will see. Like the reason why the shipping, here's the honest truth: the reason why the shipping containers went up so much for APRN was because they were shipping mostly large bulk items, right? So when they were doing that, basically COVID gave these like shipping people a excuse to raise rates unmercilessly. Like they basically said, well, it's COVID, and they raised their rates like 4 times, like 400% on the largest items because they could. And here's the thing, like the United States came back and was like, okay, they found out basically there's 4 large institutions that run like the global, like Asia to the West Coast, like shipping, and they all basically teamed up, it seemed like, and raised their rates like together. They had a monopoly on it. So basically, that is not a good thing when there's no competition, when all of them decided they were going to raise their rates. So the U.S. basically came through and was like, okay, we're going to start either looking into this, or we're going to go ahead and tell you to bring these prices down and fix this. And that's what they did. So instead of actually like cutting off those particular companies, the companies just started slowly putting their prices down, and now it's gotten back to normal. But those shipping companies made record profits during COVID. And not because they absolutely, needed to increase, like the deficit. They were making more money than they ever made in their entire time. So, I'm just reading. Yeah, but like that's why Tyrion got beat down so badly. Like, right? So that was like a really weird, unprecedented time, and then now you've got this, too many empty containers in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, there's so many problems with right now with the supply chain. I can't get into all of it now, but the shipping containers are coming back down. So container shortage in China, and they're all sitting here in the U.S. Sounds about right. I think we should get guidance at the next earnings report. I I don't see them giving guidance anytime soon at this point. Like if you give guidance, then you give a target, and if you don't hit it, then you're gonna end up even worse off. At this point right now, I don't see them providing guidance. Like they kind of were like at least giving you a idea of what they were looking at, but they were not going to put out hard numbers. And I think at this point right now, they're probably not going to do that because, for anyone that knows, these shipping prices can swing pretty wildly. So what exactly is guidance? Guidance is basically when the company comes forward and says, this is what we think we're going to do as far as like revenue and some other key metrics. Then China fought back and broke an oil pipeline in SoCal. Yeah, like I don't foresee them, giving full on guidance, but at the same time, what I think I can show you guys without here. We'll pull up the weekly again, right? So we're sitting here at this very important spot, which is we're hanging right around here. I think it needs to go down just a little bit more to touch the oversold on the RSI, and I think then it springs. And that probably would be, if you actually drew this out, and I think that's probably what, I didn't draw this out, but basically, if you did, it was basically like a falling wedge, and then it ends up hitting right around earnings. Earnings could be basically like around 97 is what I would guess if I was just eyeing it. So it's possible it gets down there from, if you were to draw this out, I would say probably about like $1 or something, like low dollars, high 90s, could it dip a little bit further, but once it hits that weekly oversold right here, the last time it happened was here, right? We were oversold on the weekly back in March of this year, and it basically hit this point right here and then ran all the way up to 7, right? No, that was a different one, sorry. Yeah, it was this one. So this one went from 142 all the way up to 45. This one right here hit oversold on the weekly here, right? So this was the selling climax. The spring happened right here. So that one right there was basically a run from 304 all the way up to close to 20. So I think it was like 18 or 19, right? And then on this one over here, you almost went oversold and it went all the way up to 7, and then now we're pushing it here, just like on this one, we're pushing it here. So, if it hits that point, it springs up, then we'll see. I'm sitting here with my 152 average. You got your average all the way down to 152? That's impressive. $1. That'll give me a chance to get my cost down to under 250. Yep. Yeah, good for you guys. If you can get your average all the way down there, that's pretty good. I mean, they are apparently changing the DRS agent, so we'll see if you can actually buy and sell shares through the new one. Someone had said that might happen. All right. It's midnight here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and hop off. But thanks for coming and hanging out. I know we actually talked about this, but is anyone interested in doing just a trade thing? I'll make a separate group from the main Discord, but is anyone interested in trying to do something which is trade option spreads and kind of just take a small amount of money and see if we can do something with it? Is anyone interested in that? So I'll just clear the air here. So a bunch of people on the Discord were like, oh, remember, Anon is talking to those optionality guys. It's totally shady. They're smart money. Okay. So I know one of the guys at optionality in real life. It's not like a big conspiracy. And I actually I wrote them, and I was like, hey, I saw on LinkedIn that he apparently owns a brokerage, and I'm like, you own a brokerage? Like, wait, what? Okay. So I was like, listen, like, you have an opportunity here because you're a new brokerage. Like, now at the time, still at this time, they don't sell commons yet because apparently to have commons, you have to have a huge amount of collateral. And they don't have that at this time. Yeah, it's total conspiracy, right? It's literally, I just know this guy and I contacted him. So, like, I don't get paid for these guys. Like, in the future, I might, but like at this point right now, I'm not getting paid by these guys. And so I just was like, hey, would you be able to like look into how would retail be able to actually have their trades hit the lit exchange? And they actually contacted IEX and I had a conversation with them. Remember, everyone always talks about like routing through IEX. They were like, yeah, I mean, we could probably down the line, once we kind of get off the ground, we could probably go ahead and start, a commons thing within our platform, and you could buy and sell, and we would route only through IEX if that's what you guys want. They're like, we're small enough, we're totally cool with that. So I'm like, you literally could have a brokerage where your shares would actually hit lit exchanges, which, like, off the bat, like, there would be no other like routing. It would just be through that. All the YouTubers push broker. Yeah, like, but these guys are like small. Like, they're tiny. Like, they're not like a big company. It's not like I'm pushing Moo or who are the other ones? People contacted me, and I remember I asked you guys what you thought, and everybody was like, no, don't deal with those guys. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I didn't. But with these guys, they're like a small brokerage. They're transparent. They're basically charging 50 cents per leg of a contract. So that's it. Like, they're not incentivized to basically take the other side of the trade for you. They're making their money off volume. So, like, if you make more trades in a day, they'll make more money. If you don't make any trades in a day, they won't make any money. Like, that's just how it is. It's 50 cents per leg of a contract. So, I thought that's pretty fair. And with options, they actually are better than commons because they can't like hide them through dark pools. You like literally options all go through there. So, but yeah, Paxton, that's kind of the idea, right? So, like, because these guys are new and they are also coming from like the retail traders perspective, because they were all retail traders except for one of them used to work for Susquehanna. But he left there a couple of years ago and then was at a small family office. And then he decided he was going to start this because during COVID, all his buddies were like, hey, man, like, how do I trade options? And they were just getting absolutely destroyed. And he was like, okay, well, obviously we trade spreads that are like a little bit more, risk tolerant. Because when you buy a call and then you sell a call, it limits how much money you can make, but at the same time, it limits how much money you can lose. So, I mean, the idea behind this is, like 50 cents. Woohoo, costs an arm and a leg. Yeah, I mean, like, so in the long run, when you get really bad fill, Moo is sponsored on every... Yeah, Moo tried to get me to do it, but like when I asked you guys how you guys felt, you guys didn't want me to do that, and I was fine with that. But like with these guys, I'm totally fine. It feels very natural to be like, you're transparent about what you're doing. You're not basically routing things away from, like, with options, there is no like dark pools, there is no selling information. Like, they're not doing any of that stuff. And they said that they wouldn't do that stuff in the future. If they ever get commons, they would actually route through IEX, which is what I asked them to do. If they ever do that, it's like, hey, you guys could do the right thing. You guys could actually not screw over retail. And if they can't have commons to do the options, if they can't have commons, do options not get exercised? So the way these work, these are spreads. So basically the way they work is like this. You buy a call, if you're on, but let's say it's a call spread. You buy a call and you sell a call, right? So you're buying, say, a $1 Ethereum call, and you're selling a $150 Ethereum call, right? So it limits how much money you can make, but also how much money you can lose. And all the stuff is mapped out in front of you. And so I think they have a decent product. I actually think it's easier than me having to like put together my own call spreads and put spreads. Like I don't have to think. I can just look at their stuff, and it's better. Like, yeah. So I think it makes things a little bit easier to trade, and at the same time, so yeah, you don't need to have things get exercised when you have a spread like that, both positions get closed at the same time. Like you're literally when you're doing a spread, both positions get closed at the same time, and there's a max gain and a max loss. So, I mean, if you're interested in it, it's not difficult. Commons are stocks, Earthium, I believe what Anon is saying. Yeah, they don't have any commons. So like if, for example, if you were to sell a put spread, they only do spreads at this point right now. They're not doing naked. So part of their like philosophy is they don't want people to go one side and then lose everything. Because you can absolutely get like hammered when you go naked one side, and a lot of us know this because I did the same thing. Like I had just calls on Ethereum. Had I did a spread on them, I would have lost far less money than I did. So it's basically, it limits how much you can gain, but at the same time it limits how much you can lose. So that's why spreads are sometimes what professionals do. They're not going naked one side. Like down at these levels for Ethereum, yeah, you're probably better off just going one side. But like there's other tickers that like you don't know which way it's going to go, and it can, buck pretty wildly. So it's safer to have, that where it also negates some of the theta. So all this stuff I can explain more, but if you guys are interested in this, just let me know. I'm going to create a separate group eventually. But just DM me and just be like, yeah, I'm interested, on the Discord. And then we can kind of get it started. Sound like Hustle, you're cool. We could probably, but basically these guys said that they would give $50 to anyone that puts like 200 in. But I was thinking about just doing this like challenge where like, I don't know, we just throw like $500 in an account and then see if we can turn that into like, I don't know, like 10,000, or, it's going to be a slow process. Like, I don't plan on making tons and tons of trades every single day. I'm just going to find things where I think they're like smart moves, and then we'll see. You also can choose time frames, and I'll kind of cover all this. Maybe I'll do like a tutorial video on like how this works. But the idea basically is just going to be me coming up. Yeah, it could be 6 months to make 500 into a 10K. That's a little aggressive. I would probably go more like a year and see if we can get it done there. That may still be a little aggressive. Like if you could just turn 500 into 10 grand, you're going to be probably doing a lot of risk that you probably would, you can wipe an account if you're trying to double up every single time you make a trade. So I'm just trying to make some smart plays and, probably take out some of the guesswork. And that's just what I'm thinking out loud right now. I haven't quite like hashed it all out, but I was just seeing if there's any interest, if people want to try it, and then we can kind of like talk within that group. And then, if somebody sees, a play that's interesting, we can see if they have like, spread options on them, and we can kind of play them. And like the nice thing is you can always sell at any time. So like if you're up, 20% and you don't want to wait around to see if the thing reverses, you can take the profit right then. So that's kind of what the goal is going to be. Like if anyone's interested in doing this, we would, I'll just let you know what I'm doing. Like, just a quick little, like, hey, I'm selling out of this position, and, these are the trades I'm doing. So anyone that's in that group will be able to see that. And, whoever has the highest amount in 6 months. Yeah, we could do something like that. That'd be fun. But yeah, that's kind of the idea right now is, I was thinking about basically trying to start this, and I know a lot of people are hugely down on Ethereum and a couple other tickers. So, this would be a way of kind of like learning to trade spread options, in a bad market, honestly. but it probably will make us better traders. It's kind of practice is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I mean, trust me, RTM. I was saying it's probably longer than a year, but I was going to say we'll see. You know, you can always sometimes catch fire with options, and you can make pretty sizable. Like if you were to hit, for example, on a couple options that literally like were going to pay 6-1. That's you can make pretty good money pretty quickly. So with options, that is a possibility that you can make that, the 20x. It's all dependent on, though, like you obviously have to hit that pretty well. I posted my average in Discord to prove I'm not a BSer. I don't know. Where'd you post it? Oh, your average on Ethereum. Yeah, that's cool. Good for you, man. Let me go to the ATER chat. Good for you. Look at that. 152.8 or sorry, 1.528. I'm jealous of your average. I am jealous of your average. 115% after hours. Yep, I remember that. Doesn't disclose sensitive. Yeah, I see. That's good stuff. Jealous of your average. I will try to get down there myself. But yeah, if anyone's interested in doing this, we'll talk more about it. But I just wanted to see if there was anybody that was interested in doing it. Random. Come on, disclose what you do, donkey. All right. It's after midnight. I got to get out of here, guys. But I just wanted to mention that. I was thinking about doing that, and I'll figure out a wave, like kind of getting everybody together. But if anyone wants to do it, they said they would do, like, if you sign up and then they do like $200, they'll give you $50 So they'll literally, I think, just like Venmo it to you. So up to you guys. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. I will probably stream. I should be able to stream. I'm going to my in-laws. My mother-in-law got hacked by an Indian scammer, and I have to figure out what this guy did to her computer. So I will be helping fix her computer tomorrow. She unfortunately, we were getting her a new phone, and she got an email, one of those like spam emails that said, "Hey, listen, you have a PayPal charge for $900 on the phone," and she ended up clicking on the link and then calling the number, and then they got her to install a VPN onto her computer, and then we're like, they pulled up that screen where they basically showed the bank account, and then they say, "Oh my goodness, I transferred you the wrong amount," and trying to get you to transfer real money out of your account to them. And so she called me like in a panic. And I was like, "You just turn off your computer right now, like disconnect your Ethernet, like get out." And so I've got to now figure out what this guy installed on her computer, like, with spyware and VPN they put on, because he was in her computer, like literally typing up like a ransom note. So, anywho, I'll be doing that tomorrow, but I should be able to stream after that. So, you guys have a great evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, good night, guys.